Well, there's a reason I got the South Carolina pseudo battle flag behind me, because that's my heritage, actually. First state to secede, first state to put the nullification laws in the 1830s over the tariff. And I want to make a suggestion to Florida. Let's put in some nullification laws against the federal law on moonshine. Now, the reason I'm saying this, because we could be a 100% independent state down here if we nullified the laws on moonshine and also the laws on growing industrial hemp. Now, my thing when I'm talking about moonshine actually is to run vehicles on, actually run cars, run trucks, jeeps, motorcycles, lawn mowers, you name it, weed whackers, and all that other kind of crap. Back actually when cars were first developed with the Model T, the Ford Model T, the de facto fuel of choice was alcohol. It was not gasoline, because alcohol burned much, much, much cleaner than gasoline. The engines lasted much longer, and the oil stayed cleaner much longer. Nobody really wanted to use alcohol. Really, the way alcohol got out of mode was through the nefarious efforts of John D. Rockefeller, or Standard Motor Oil Company, who gave millions of dollars to religious people to ban the sale and manufacture of alcohol because, it breaks up the families, it's the devil's brew and all this type of stuff. Now, I'm actually talking about alcohol for fuel. And now, I know you can get it under all these permits, but nobody's doing it because the permits are too damn much money. So this is where the government shoots itself in the foot. They regulate business right out of existence. And actually, a lot of times, there's big money behind these rules because the big money, like Standard Oil or whoever, the people that are producing gasoline, the oil producers, are behind the regulations to stop independent producers from producing alcohol by manufacturing it from corn or industrial hemp, which industrial hemp is illegal pretty much everywhere unless we got a lot of permits, because it's competition to them. The same way John D. Rockefeller moved to push for prohibition in 1920, which was an outlaw to 1933. Now, in 1932, they pushed a national gasoline tax on gasoline because there was depression. Hey, the government's got to survive, not the people, right? Now, Florida has been a big moonshine state for a long time, not just during Prohibition, not just during the Great Depression after Prohibition, when Prohibition ended in 1933, not just in the 1940s, but also in the 1950s. Now, Florida is like, you can't even own a still, period, unless you get all the permits first. It's highly regulated by, I think it's Department of Business and Professional Regulations, whatever that it is, and they just regulate it out of existence. Now, my point on this is this. Hard cash from even, I think Florida should get rid of all its moonshine laws completely. Just throw it out the window. And do like a nullification law, basically just the way South Carolina did it. And if it's necessary to secede from the Union, fine. Because we could be 100% energy independent all the way. The reason is we got the biggest aquifer in the world under our feet. You just put a pipe in about 50 to 100 feet down, sometimes 30 feet down. You can get, even 25 feet down, you can get yourself an irrigation well. And if you're growing industrial hemp, which, if you have some nullification laws in place, you're growing industrial hemp, you're producing 10 times the amount of alcohol as corn would produce, and you don't have to worry about putting pesticides, herbicides, and doing that type of stuff with all that expense. We got all the sunshine in the world, we got all the water in the world, and with industrial hemp, we don't even need to use the herbicides, pesticides, which can contaminate the groundwater, and it would be totally energy independent. Besides, food independent all the way. Actually, I'm going to tell you right now, the way things are going with the global climate change, which is going towards a mini ice age, Florida is actually going to be very important for agriculture again. Not a bunch of yo-yos coming down here from New York, New Jersey, hitting a little white ball around on the golf cart, spending their Social Security money and pension money, going to restaurants. Ugh, I sure as hell didn't come down here for that. No way. But, I want to put this out as an appeal. And, if the Florida can't do it, maybe some of the counties can, like quote-unquote Hazard County with Boss Hogg. I don't know. The imaginary county. Some county someplace may be able to do it. The imaginary Boss Hogg, Hazard County just might say, that's a damn good idea, especially if I get a cut of it. We'll protect those fuel-making moonshiners and keep the stadies off their back and the federal people off their back. Now, what happens even when they had illegal moonshine in Florida in the 1950s and it was rampant? It was bringing in cash. It was bringing in money. See, right now they're thinking, oh, well, what's bringing in money is all their pseudo-freaking medical treatments with big pharma and all that other crap, which is a special subject of its own, because we can be having our own medical treatments down here with herbs grown from the earth that are provided by God in sunshine. But no. You've got to have the Yankee carpetbagger method of freaking medical in Florida, right? Hey, whatever lines the pockets of the politicians, right? Whether it's at the state level or the county level or the federal level. But you know what happens there? It's almost like communism, because whatever lines their pockets. Here's like another axiom. And there's something else that a lot of people haven't thought about. Local currencies, the stimulation of local currencies stimulates the economy more than tenfold. Like when we had the bailouts in 2008, 2009 to the big banks, that didn't stimulate, mom and pop industries. No way. Not at all. Not the laissez-faire home industries. It didn't stimulate them at all. It was a bailout to the big banks. When you put local currency into the local economy, it goes into the guy that's like, trimming the trees, and then he's got to get parts for his like trimmers and stuff like that. It goes into the guy that's doing the roofing, and he's got to buy more roofing material. He's got to fix his truck. He's got to get a new truck. He's got to buy air nailers and all this type of stuff, a new air compressor. It just snowballs. It snowballs. It goes in. You put it into the hands of the producers. Actually, when the people were doing the moonshining, they were stimulating the economy many times over by that money going into the local economy. That was actually a model that they used in the country of Austria to totally alleviate the effects of the Great Depression that was going on in the 1930s. They used local currencies, stimulated by the local government. That was back. They got some banknotes, and they issued their own local currency and stimulated the economy that way and got it down into the hands of the producers. The moonshiners are the producers. Now in Florida, it's like you can't even get a still without it being illegal. You just can't. They got it so draconian. Now overall, the state is actually one of the more free states going. No, and I can't criticize it that way. But problem is, all the states across the whole country have gotten far more draconian in their rules, and that's what the problem is. It's like today, if you look at the best state, which has the most freedoms in it, whatever that would be, I don't know, maybe Tennessee or New Hampshire or something, and Florida would be up there. It would be up there pretty high. And you compare it to the worst state that had the least amount of freedoms, and 100 years ago, the best state with the most amount of freedoms looks like a totalitarian dictatorship compared to what the worst state did 100 years ago. That's how bad things have gotten. It's getting worse everywhere. The more taxes they collect, the more regulations they make, and the more excuses they have for regulations and taxes, how they're benefiting the people, it's BS. Actually, the government itself is a lobby unto itself. Everybody's like sitting around doing their 2 hours of work and getting bored for the other 6 hours, trying to get their pension pay and all that, and that even includes a lot of people in the military. Because, I got disgusted by some of that garbage that was going on there. I hate to even say that, but that's exactly what goes on, man. It's exactly what goes on. We can provide for our own defense. We can provide for our own fuel. We can provide for our own food. And without the interference of government, what it needs to go back to is the old farmer. And with, when moonshine in itself for drinking, I don't drink, okay? But, here's another caveat you might want to look at. It's pretty interesting. Besides, what I told you about, the reason they made alcohol illegal was because it was competition to John D. Rockefeller's gasoline product coming from Standard Oil. The other thing is this. The laws on making beer and wine are far more lax than making alcohol. The reason being, the tax on beer and wine is much, much lower. It's about a tenth of what it is on alcohol. So the whole thing is, we don't want it legal per the government because we get a lot more tax out of it. So in other words, what they're doing is just shooting themselves in the foot. Actually, I'm going to tell you right now, I think the United States government, federal government, even with Trump involved, and I said this before, I'm not 110% sure about Trump, but I know I don't want Hillary. I didn't want her for no way in hell. But I could tell you, it's too far gone with the debt that we're coming up to an implosion. And the only way that's actually going to get us out of this crap is massive deregulation in agriculture. And the state of Florida should be one of the number one states with agriculture, especially going on into the future, because when we are coming up to what they call the mini ice age. The breadbasket of America, the Midwest, is probably going to be seeing a lot more early frost and later growing seasons when they could start planting. A lot less production of crops, and the crop production is going to start moving south. When they said the South's going to rise again, it is going to rise again, man. I'm going to tell you, it's going to rise again through agriculture. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a little caveat too. In South Carolina, I know they say, the state that seceded, first one to secede and all that. They almost seceded back in 1828, actually 1830s, with the nullification laws. During the 1820s, when the first tariffs started coming on really strong in 1824, and then later the tariff of abominations in 1828, then they had a little bit of a less tariff in 1832. The population of South Carolina dropped by over 20-something%. That's how severe it caused a downturn in the economy. Although my family stayed there forever. They stayed there since. They were there since the 1700s and through the American Revolution, fighting alongside General Francis Marion, which, one of the counties in Florida is named for is Marion County, General Francis Marion. That was my family, fighting for them guys. The Swamp Fox, man. And then they fought for the Confederacy over taxes. And, people don't like that. I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, well. You don't like the facts? Too bad. But let me just tell you that taxes is what is screwing up America. If you want to make America great again, make America great again through moonshine and industrial hemp. We can use moonshine to fuel everything. I'd be like all on that stuff. If that was legal, I'd be planting industrial hemp left and right. And as a matter of fact, what I'm probably going to do is get on the project to plant some more lemon trees, because I know it's very helpful for you, because at least that's something I could do that's legal, that's helpful for me, lemon trees. And, if you're worried about the lemon tree and orange tree blight, there's probably a solution for that, which is using frequencies with quantum entanglement and with a Mobius coil. What the hell did I talk about right there? But there is probably something you could do about that could solve the lemon and orange tree blight. I just want to throw that on the end of this video, and don't think I'm full of crap about this, because this technology, even though it's brand new, it seems like it's not well known, and but there's been a lot of things that prove that it works. But I know one thing: if I start planting a lot more lemon trees, because I know I can't plant hemp, and I know I can't make moonshine in state until somebody makes it legal. I'm going to tell you, if I have a problem with any kind of blight of the lemon trees, I think I know the solution for it. But my appeal on this video is to make moonshine and industrial hemp legal again. And if you can't do it on a federal level, do it on a state level. If you can't do it on a state level, do it on a county level. You could do that in Hazard County with Boss Hogg. And Boss Hogg can do anything, right? As long as you get some money out of it, he doesn't care. He'll protect you from the staties and the federal people. And that money goes into the county, which is local currencies, and it stimulates the economy tenfold. Actually, when the counties and the state get draconian with putting a hammer down on people with fees and also harshness of laws and things, what happens there is they pull out 10 times as much out of the industrial output of the county or the state. You know, it's like we need to go almost back to the Wild Wild West again a little bit here, and almost like a little bit of chaos, and let the market decide and let the people decide what they want. Non-interference of all economic activity should be the watchword of the day. So, anyway, that's my appeal, and I'm sticking with it. And you know, if you really want to, you really want to know what's wrong with the economy, the big guys, they don't want you growing hemp because hemp can produce 10 times as much gasoline as corn, which would put the big oil companies right the hell out of business. Plus, it can be used as food. It's got a high quality protein. It's a strong material that can be replaced in nylon. It can be used for paper products. Hell, you can even make entire cars out of hemp with the right other types of composites and epoxies and, combined with it, right? But no, they don't like it. They don't like it because anybody can grow hemp. You don't have to have a patented racket. They don't like that. So putting moonshine for fuel and industrial hemp legal again puts power right back into the people's hands, where entrepreneurs, anybody, can get out there and do the stuff themselves. It's work, but anybody can do it. And you'll bring cash. And, if Florida decides to make a nullification laws on moonshine and hemp, fine by me. And if some county, whether it's Hazard County, quote unquote, with Boss Hogg, quote unquote, wants to make moonshine and industrial hemp legal in the county, and make nullification laws of the state and the federal government, I'm fine with that too. But somebody's got to put this appeal out, because this is actually our economic livelihood and well-being, and our economic future is really wrapped up in this. Do not expect the federal government to be around long term in its present form with all the debt they got. Man, that shit's going down. I know right now that everybody thinks if there's a problem, Big Brother government's got them covered. Yeah, BS. They don't. That started a long time ago, and that's never been the case. Big Brother government is actually a tool of big business. If you want to make wealth, you make your own wealth. But the problem is the government's interfering with you making your own wealth. And one of the best ways you can make your own wealth is through agriculture, through growing industrial hemp, and also for producing your own alcohol for fuel. But, my option right now is probably just to plant more lemon trees, But, this is my appeal, and I'm sticking with it.